Well, more and more Ukrainian citizens are preparing to fight back, forced to separate from their families and move towards danger. Peter Zalmayev is one of them. He is currently near Kyiv. And Peter, we spoke with you on this show last week in your capacity as an expert. Since then, you've moved your family to a safer part of the country. What was that journey like?
Well, obviously, it was a very exhausting journey. You've probably all heard about the extremely jam-packed traffic snaking throughout Ukraine, leading from Kiev to western parts of the country and across the border to Poland. We decided not to leave the country. They're not in Poland. We were able to evacuate them to a safer place within Ukraine, in western parts of Ukraine. But it's a very exhausting journey, but at the same time, inspiring. What I've seen on the streets of Kiev, Ukrainian towns, villages, and cities is unlike anything the country has known since 1940s, since World War II. A massive mobilization drive. You see groups of men, women putting up roadblocks, cleaning up old weapons, and basically getting ready to meet the enemy.
And now you've headed back to near Kyiv, and you're taking up arms. Tell me about your motivation and what you're hoping to do.
Well, this is precisely the motivation. When you see a lot of your own comrades, folks that work with you on TV, and journalists, when you see rock stars who take up arms, have taken up arms in defense of the capital, I mean, you have no other choice. You have to go back. You have to be with them. This is kind of a moment to, for you to stand up and be counted. And this is, it's for you to make sure that Ukraine remains independent. Ukraine remains a viable state. When something like this is happening to you, it's surreal. It's like you've only read about it in books, and all of a sudden you're reading these books about war. Personal gets commingled with, with global. I mean, we've sort of been thrust into global history now.
Do you have a gun? Have you served in the army? What is, in a very kind of direct way, what is your plan?
That's a good question. We have not had much formal training at all. I mean, I've shot in, practice, sporadically here and there, but we're just practicing as we go. We make stops and we practice out in the fields. We do have arms. It is very tricky to be traveling now near Kiev and towards the capital, simply because there are bands of diversionary troops and Russian agents on roads. You have to be driving very carefully, watching out for any suspicious signs. There have already been quite a few incidents, involving people being attacked, assaulted on the roads. So you just have to be very, very careful.
It is clear you're driven by a sense of duty, a sense of national pride, a sense of doing what is necessary. But there must be anxiety as well. Are you worried tonight?
It's a wild kind of ride. You wake up feeling uplifted, then you start reading news, and then your mood goes down. It's just up and down, up and down. It's very unstable. But from everything we read from NBC, this is getting much more difficult adventure for Vladimir Putin than he expected when he set out. Ukrainians have put up such stiff resistance that you already hear talk of nuclear weapons being readied by the Russians. That sounds to me like Vladimir Putin is getting desperate, that his blitzkrieg, his shock and awe campaign has failed miserably. He is really getting much, much, much more than he bargained for.
It is an extraordinary story, and thank you very much for taking time tonight to speak with us about it.
Thank you.